Hey everybody, Matt Clark here. So welcome to the Module 5 coaching call for Amazing Selling Machine. Congratulations on sticking it out on these calls. We know a lot of people, even if you're falling a little bit behind or feel like you are, I know the training really starts picking up pace in Module 3, but it's still definitely good to make it on these calls. We bring on guests, we cover new content that's beyond what's in the training, and it's a lot of new developments that you won't find in those videos. So yeah, congratulations on making it here. Hopefully you're cranking along with your business. When it comes down to it, the only way you're going to get it done is by doing it one step at a time. So it doesn't matter if you run into a bump in the road with a supplier, or maybe you're still trying to choose your product because something didn't work out. Doesn't matter. Just keep going one step at a time. We're seeing people getting better and better results with this business every single day, and we're pulling data out of the system so we can prove that. So it's working extremely well. Just keep moving, and there's a ton of opportunity for you. So yeah, I want to welcome you to the Module 5 coaching call. We've got people handling Q&A behind the scenes, and we'll be taking, if we see any ones that really need to be addressed right now, we will answer those live here. So yeah, just want to welcome you here. And Jason, what do you want to cover?
So first of all, I want to again thank everyone for being here. Just to give you the heads up that I am in Santiago, Chile. So my internet is great right now, but who knows what's going to happen. And a cool thing happened to me the other day. So this is always just something to keep in mind. You never know who you're going to be sitting beside. As I was at a winery the other day, and I just happened to have a conversation with the gentleman beside me. And he is Mr. Alexander Vick, who is one of the wealthiest men in the world. He's a billionaire, and it just blew me away. So it was an honor. So I just thought, something to share that was really exciting and cool that happened. So you never know who's sitting right beside you. But as Matt told you, this is the end of Module 5, starting Module 6, and we've been focusing on, talking about promotion. And a really cool story, as we were getting ready for this call, you could see our guest, who a really wonderful lady who we had the privilege of actually talking with before, but she came on the Aruba trip last weekend, and a really interesting thing happened where the reason I want to share this because it's so important to remember. So many of you right now are at that point where you've got your product going and you're looking, okay, what's the next steps? How do I start promoting? But oftentimes we start thinking of, and what other products can I add? What other things can I start doing? And you start getting sidetracked because you start thinking that, I make more money by doing more products. That's not always the best case scenario, and there's a reason why we tell you to always focus on one. So when we come to our special guest in a few moments, you're going to see why it's so important that you look at all the other options, because she's just started something new, not starting any other products, using the products she already has, but started something new and has had some great success right out of the gate. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. The big thing that I want to talk about right now, though, is simply do something every day. As Matt said, congratulations, you're still here. Yet some of you, obviously there's people at different areas. Some of you are still sitting there trying to decide on the product, but make that decision. Every day, make sure that you're doing something to move your business forward. Everyone has a different learning curve. Things are always going to be different, but if every day you dedicate time to doing something every day that grows your business, you're going to be so much better off for it. And when it comes to the traffic side, in a couple modules, we're going to be starting to show you, and I think it's in Module 7, about traffic and conversion, how you want to be tracking things. But again, remember, this is a real business you're building. This is not anything where you just do one time, set it and forget it, walk away. I look at it like if you look at Pepsi or Coca-Cola, those are huge brands that you still every day see advertisements for. And that's something that I want to get, in your head to understand that you're building a real brand here, and your job is to get that in front of as many targeted potential customers as possible, but that never ends. The moment you stop, that's the moment when your competition will catch you or surpass you because they're not going to stop. Now, that does not mean I don't want you sitting here thinking like, oh my goodness, that means I'm going to be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not at all. That's why you put systems in place. Eventually, you hire people to start doing these things for you. But don't look at it like getting the product to Amazon is all it takes. You have to be able to get traffic. Amazon's going to have the power, they have the power to be able to send you a lot of traffic through the sponsored ad systems and all that. But you want to get as much as possible in there. But again, you don't want to be distracting yourself. You want to be able to be focused and just do something every day that grows your business. And when it comes to the traffic side, it's not something that you just do a couple little things of. I mean, I've had people say to me, oh, I've done a couple press releases, I'm not getting the results. And it's like, well, no kidding. You've only done a couple of things. And as you're going to hear, you need to do things over and over again because you need to constantly be getting that message in front of customers. And that's something that you're in control of, is the more you get your message in front of people, the more money you can make because the more traffic you're going to get to your products. So just remember, every day do something to grow your business and make sure it's the best thing you could possibly be doing. Don't sit there and like waste time like trying to do 20 different things. Pick one thing at least that you can get done today that's going to make a difference in your business by tomorrow. And that's really all I want you to focus on because there's no really secret answer other than that. It's every day doing something that matters that will get you to that next level. Now, as usual, we have Shane and we also have Rich on the call with us, the two awesome mentors, and they're going to have some stuff to share. And then we're going to get into our special guest. But as we're talking here, any questions you have, put them in there. When we come to the Q&A time, we will have an opportunity to be able to answer those for you if the questions haven't been already answered. But the next thing I want to do is what Rich wants to talk a little bit about the Alliance tool. So, Rich, if you could take her away.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jason. This is actually, Module 6 is actually probably my favorite module of all. I love all the tools. They're all fantastic. They all work really well. But I just want to talk a little bit about the Alliance tool, which, in my personal opinion, along with the email tool, is the most powerful tool in the ASM arsenal. And to be honest, it doesn't get used as much as it should. Personally, I think every member should be using it every single day. Once you get used to it, it is a really simple tool to use. But the results it gives are really, really powerful. However, there are some important things to mention, and although they are mentioned in the training, I just want to emphasize them again. And firstly, the biggest one is the Alliance tool is a cooperative, right? It's a massive opportunity, but not only to help yourself, but also to help all your fellow ASM members. It really is quid pro quo. So when you're doing any jobs, completing jobs, please be conscious of this when you use it. Make sure your accounts are following the guidelines. Again, the training shows you exactly how you should set up your social accounts and how you need to maintain them. It is very important you do this, and if we all do it, then we all benefit. Again, treat it as though you're completing jobs for yourself. So with Facebook and Twitter shares, add a little comment when you're completing jobs. Please just try and go the extra few yards and make a meaningful comment. Like with YouTube, don't just say great video. Actually say something about the video itself. It'll take you an extra 10, 15 seconds to write a one-sentence, two-sentence comment. So do go that extra few yards and do that. And once again, if we all do this, we all benefit. If you see accounts that complete your jobs that are not following the guidelines, then please do report them to support. We need to see these and we need to take a look at them. Do not feel guilty for doing this. Everyone knows the rules and guidelines. So if someone is being lazy and not following them, then we need to get them doing it correctly for everyone's benefit. And by reporting them, you are helping not only us, yourself, but you're also helping every other member who's using the tool. Next, just a little tip. Every time someone completes a job for you, put that URL into the URL boost tool. Again, it's a really simple, fast thing to do. It's going to help make sure those completed jobs get indexed really quickly by Google and the other search engines, which in turn means much faster results for you. Also, when posting jobs, try and get a little creative. So when you're posting Facebook and Twitter jobs, remember you're not restricted to just Amazon product URLs. You can use any URL that you want. So put your videos in there, your press releases, Facebook posts, Amazon reviews. Basically any kind of content you have that is connected to your business. All these things help. there's no doubt whatsoever that social activity of any kind in this day and age is a big SEO factor, and it helps big time. Don't get hung up on seeing an account, oh, they've only got 20 friends. All social interaction helps. So any kind of social jobs that you can get done for any of your pages is going to benefit you. And most important of all, with the reviews. People say to us, well, how do you know this works? How do you know it's effective? Well, it's just plain and simple. You can see it. Make sure all your best reviews, once you get past like one page full of reviews, make sure all your best reviews are appearing on that first page. There's nothing you can do about the ones in the sidebar, which are the most recent ones. But the ones in the middle of the main page, make sure that all your best reviews are on that page. And what we actually I've already noticed, and we noticed it a long time ago, and it's still happening now, is that even just that kind of activity on your reviews page seems to help boost your product. We've no idea why, but we see it happening. We've seen it happen a lot with people that have not been doing much, and all of a sudden they start throwing a lot of review jobs into the tool, and all of a sudden they start seeing a lot more traffic, and not just the traffic of people going there to complete the reviews. So, just to close, please use the Alliance tool as much as you possibly can. All the tools are powerful, they all work. But more than anything, especially right now, even if you haven't got your product up, go into the Alliance tool, start using it, start building up your credits. I think we've got a limit of 40 right now, so you can earn up to 40 credits before you have to start posting jobs. And as I said, you can do this right now. You don't have to have your product in inventory. If your product is in inventory, then start posting jobs. Get your videos promoted. Get your articles promoted, your press releases. Everything you do, you can promote with the Alliance tool. So basically, just get out there and use it. But that's all I've got to say on the Alliance tool, Jason.
Cool. And actually, the next topic Shane's going to talk about really comes into that because, especially with the community and everything, you're going to have a lot of distractions. Actually, I don't want to take the thunder from what Shane's got. It's a great topic for you really need to focus on. So Shane, maybe use that as a segue to take her away.
Hey there. Thanks, Jason. Can you guys hear me okay?
We hear you, but we don't see you. There we are. There he is.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Jason. Yeah, for a lot of you, you're really getting into the meat of the course now.
Shane?
Yep.
Your headset is pointing up in the air. Your mic.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, a little technical difficulty there. So for a lot of you, you're really getting into the meat of the course now. You're, and I know a lot of people in oh, I don't know, hang on a sec. I think I got to plug in my headset. Can you guys just give me a minute?
You're good.
Okay. I think my battery's going to die here. Jason, let me just plug it into the USB, okay, bud?
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I can hear it beeping. There we go. Can you still hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear, yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, so sorry about that. Meat of the course. This is really where the bullet hits the bone. So a lot of you, you might still be trying to find suppliers. I know a lot of you are still stressed out that you're behind. There's no behind. There's no ahead. There's just where you are. Jason was talking about these big companies. This is a long-term business. Don't get stressed out. Don't get nuts about it. There's going to be a lot of distractions headed your way. A lot of you may have already been invited to the Facebook group. If you're not, that'll be coming. You're going to meet all kinds of interesting folks. You get all kinds of interesting ideas and new marketing ideas. Plus, there's a lot of good information coming your way in the next modules. And I know a lot of those people who wanted to jump ahead earlier, you're going to be wishing things slow down a little bit. But you just take things at a logical, measured pace. Don't lose sight of what's important here. It's easy to get distracted. This is the time when, you want to absorb, you want to understand a lot of those other techniques, But you don't want to go chasing sort of every shiny object that comes along. This is the time to build your solid foundation. And starting with the previous module, you make the best listing you can with the information that you have now. And you have a plan in place to constantly review, improve, and evolve it. So sort of before you go hog wild, this is the time to make sure you don't get ahead of yourself, get caught up on all different kinds of things, about making sure you first built that really solid foundation. You know, if you're trying to do 100 things, you're probably not going to do any of them very well. So just pull it back, make sure you get your listing done, make sure you get every step done along the way. Don't be in a rush. Your images, that is the absolute most important thing on your listing. It's the first thing people see. Your title, that's the next most important thing, your bullets. So if they're not perfect right out of the gate, and nobody's is, that's okay. They're a constant evolution. There's no such thing as a perfect listing. There's no such thing as a perfect product. Just keep working at it and having a plan in place. So if you've got, you know, half a dozen images you took on your iPhone and they're okay, well, you know what? Pay. You know, maybe you have to pay $50 or $75 to get a really super high quality image. Just get one. Make that your main image and have a plan in place so that, you know, let's say every month you're going to get another photo or two added. Well, you know, by the time 6 months rolled around, you'll have a whole series of great photos you can use. Don't worry about making it perfect right out of the bat. And as you start selling, as you start getting feedback, as you start advertising, discovering new keywords, reading more and more competitors' reviews, you're going to constantly revisit your title, your bullet points, and adding new information as your product evolves. So make sure you got that strong foundation there with your listing before you go rushing off and anything else. Then, as we into Module 5, and that's why it's presented now, that is really what builds your foundation. Things like the email tool, you know, it's paramount. It's useful in so many ways. You're getting customer feedback. You're building reviews. It just increases your professionalism. And 95% of all the sellers on Amazon don't even have something. They don't even utilize something so simple but so powerful as an email tool. Getting that initial handful of reviews, it's so important. You know, it helps get you ranked. It allows you to, you know, do things like utilize Amazon ads, which is coming up in the next module. Make sure you get those first reviews out of the way. Family, friends, there's tons of great info here in the modules on how to get those first reviews. It's super important. The promo tool, I know people get stressed out about it. Don't worry about it. It's a set it and forget it tool. It's awesome. Just, you know, spend a few hours, sit down, write something, get it done. If you can't write it, if you don't have time, English isn't your first language, whatever, pay someone to do it because it works day and night for you even when you're not working. And lastly, that alliance tool, well, not lastly, but the alliance tool. You know, a lot of you don't have a website yet. You don't maybe have a Facebook page or any other social media, you know, company platforms. That's okay. You can utilize that alliance tool. It's so powerful, and you can start getting those outside signals pointed to your listing. Just like that. Nobody else has something like this. And the last thing is press releases. I know, you know, first thing, you know, you think press releases, oh my God, I'm not a writer, I can't do this. Well, you know what? Maybe it's time to learn a new skill. Just try it. You know, it's not that hard. There's some great information given. There's some great ideas for press releases that are given. And if you absolutely can't do it, you've tried, English isn't your first language, whatever, put a plan in place. You know, pay someone, you know, to do 2 a month. You know, just anything. Get some things in the tunnel just to get it going, to get it done. All these little tools in Module 5 built on top of having the best listing you can optimize are what builds your foundation going forward. So stay on track. Ensure that listing is optimized. Have a plan in place for constant revision and improvement because it doesn't matter how long you've been selling. You're always going to come back. You're going to change images. You're going to tweak your title. You're going to find new keywords. It's always, always evolving. So don't think you can just kind of make it and, oh, that's it. I never have to touch it again. It's always a work in progress, and don't get worried about it. As Jason said, you know, it doesn't matter what module you're on right now or what stage you're at. Just make sure you take some action every single day and have a logical plan in place, and you'll be good to go, and you're ahead of everyone else. Trust me on that. That's about it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Shane. I appreciate that. And, you know, a lot of this really is just getting out of your own way and not. I've been victim to this, and so many other people are, I know as well too. You know, whether you go in a community or you're just eager to get the best results you can, and so you think there's some secret tool, there's something else out there that works better, that must be the secret. And that's not the case. We've given you more than you need to get started. Get through these 8 weeks. Use the tools that we've showed you. Use them as much as possible to get things done. And then once you've gone through the process, once you've promoted your product, once you've done everything, that's when you can start trying new things. But don't get distracted. Don't think, well, I already have access to this training, this tool. There must be something else I can use as well. Don't do that. Stay focused, stay on target, and do the things we tell you to do, because that's what you paid for. At the end of the day, that's why you're here. You want guidance to be able to, you know, you're going to hear in a moment of a guest of someone who just in the last year is now, you know, has a multi-million-dollar physical products business that a year ago didn't exist, and that's because of following the system. And you're going to hear about that in a minute. So please, we don't tell you this for any other reason than because we want you to get the best results possible, and we know what we're talking about. Now, with all that said, now is my honor to introduce the next guest, and I really appreciate it because we actually had, this was a last-minute change that we had to make, and because we've already asked this person before to be on a call, we didn't want to burden them again, but without a hesitation, she was like, absolutely. And what I love about that so much is because this person isn't paid to be here. This person has their own busy life that they're living, but they want to give back, and this is something that I urge you, please listen to it. The person's name is Christy Verdi, and I had the honor, as I mentioned, to be able to be with her in Aruba. And what an inspiring person, but also what a fun person who's living a life that I think a lot of us would dream of. And we were just talking a moment before the call started. She's in Florida, heading up, I believe, to New York, and then heading to Vegas, like going all over the place. Someone who loves to travel. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is up to almost $180,000 a month now?
Yeah, just 190, just hit 190,000.
Wow, that is awesome. So, Christy, thank you. Christy, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here. And maybe you could just take a moment and kind of share your story of how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Yeah, as Jason said, I'm ASM 1, but I had a full-time job when I first started. And when I first started the course, as soon as I got into it, I think by module 2, I was like, this is something that's really gonna work for me. My background was marketing, but corporate marketing, so I'd never done anything online before, but I had worked on brands and physical products, so I kind of understood the importance of building a brand and being able to target that to a certain demographic of people. But yeah, I'd never sold anything online whatsoever before. And the reason that the Amazon model really appealed to me was that, you know, it really made sense that you had a bunch of people that were going up to one specific spot to actually physically buy something every day. And basically, what we're trying to do is actually give them what they want. So that's the kind of sort of premise that I took on board with this. And I went into a niche that is personally something that I'm interested in. So I thought, well, if I look at something that I'm interested in, then at least I'll be at least interested enough to actually talk to my consumers about it. And that's how I started. And I got into it. I asked my work where I'd been there, my corporate job, for about 10 years. And I negotiated a redundancy with them, and because one of my biggest passions was travel, so I thought, right, I just need to get into this, get it going, and so I can travel. My first sale was, I still remember it, the 22nd of September last year, 2013. What year are we in? 14? 2013. And to the day, I made a year later $100,000 for the month, which I thought was like spooky, but you know, amazing. And then that was the 22nd of September this year, and already, you know, once it starts to move, it just snowballs. And so now, yeah, 190,000, hoping to get to the 200,000 mark by the end of December. So,
That's awesome. Now, one of the things that you were just telling me, and I don't want people to jump ahead and think, oh, this is what I have to do next. But the reason I thought this was so cool is because one of the reasons we tell you to just do one product is not to say that you don't end up going into other products, but there's so much you can do before you have to start like diluting your time. And Christy, could you share just a little bit about what you did and the results you're already seeing from it?
Yeah, sure. So, to that point, I know it can seem very overwhelming when you get to like Module 5 and Module 6, because you start to see all these different promotional strategies, etc. And also a lot of people might come on and say, yeah, I'm going to launch 5 products, 10 products. For me, I need to get focused, because if I'm not focused, then I'm just going to be, my mind's going to be all over the place. So my strategy was to get really good at one product. So I launched that into the US market. So I live in Australia, so have don't live in any of the countries that I actually sell in. So first launched into the US and started to really understand how Amazon works, what promotional strategies really work. And then I thought, well, actually, rather than trying to add different products to this, why don't I actually just take it and just replicate that across different Amazon platforms? So the second thing I did was take that one product and launched it into the UK market. Now, the interesting thing about the UK market is that you can usually charge a higher sale price, even though you might sell less volume. So as an example, my first product, I sell about 40% of the volume, but I actually still make the same amount of revenue as what I do in the US market. And the time it took me to launch it into the UK was minuscule compared to the US, because I'd already learned on the US platform. I literally told my supplier, I want X amount of units sent to the UK market. And within 4 weeks, I was in the #1 position in my category. So I managed to actually replicate the US business in 4 weeks by just doing that. I then launched 2 more products and did exactly the same thing and literally tripled the business overnight. And I've just launched in Amazon Germany this week, and I've literally launched it yesterday, and I'm already at the #1 position. So it just shows you how you can replicate things very, very quickly once you've focused and actually learn what you're doing up front, rather than trying to think too far ahead, and rather than trying to think you need to launch lots and lots and lots of different things, which can also have a knock-on effect in terms of cash flow, etc. as well. So
Absolutely.
that was my focus.
And one of the things that really resonates with me about this is you're able to focus all of the energy, because when you said you focused on a brand, which first of all I really want people to understand is she realized the power of building that brand, meaning that it's not just about focusing on the product, but actually the bigger picture of the brand. But you start doing whether websites, press release, all these things that start focusing on that brand. If she was all of a sudden to distract herself and start on a different brand, well then all of those assets that she created wouldn't be as effective, because she's able to now leverage them. But she understands how to market her product, so it just makes a logical sense. Well, why not just market it here and here instead of all of a sudden having to reinvent the wheel every time? So just something to focus on. Now, if any of you have questions, obviously you've been on these calls before, if you could just type in Kirsty, K-I-R-S-T-Y, and then put what the questions are, that would be great. And then we're going to ask them to her on the call. But the first question that we got for her is, how many products are you currently selling right now?
3 products.
So why that's so important for everyone, again, she's been at this for over a year now, doing up almost $200,000 a month. And what is your profit margin about?
Sorry, what was that?
How much is your average profit margin?
Oh, 35%.
So she's making, well, what's that? I guess now $65,000, $70,000 a month net profit off of 3 products. And she's a person that loves to travel, And what is your schedule this next month?
So I'm going to New York tomorrow for Thanksgiving, and then I'm going to Vegas. And then if I make it out alive, I'm going back to Australia just for the summer. And then I'm going to New Zealand just before we go to the Vegas live event. Oh, and the Australian Open as well, yeah.
And right now you're where?
Fort Lauderdale.
But where were you a week ago?
Oh, Aruba.
So as you can see, this is not a job that makes you required to stay in any one location.
No.
So congratulations, that's so cool. Kirsty, where are you sourcing your products from? Are they domestic? Are they from China? Where are you getting your products from?
All from China.
Oh, very cool. So now with the module that we're in, obviously it's about traffic and promotion. What advice or feedback do you have to people listening right now about that? Because I know a lot of people, this is brand new for them as well too. So just to help understand the importance of this, but just anything that comes to your mind is something that you really think needs to be driven home.
I think certainly how I felt at this stage was overwhelmed. So I remember looking at all the tools and just thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Should I do videos? Should I do press releases? So what I try to do is get really focused on the basics. So as Rich said, the Alliance tool is something that should be done every day, and it's not taxing, and it gets your product out there. The URL boost tool is really, really effective as well, and they made sense to me. The press release tool as well. Now, in terms of time, I was struggling with the video tool. So what I tried to do is think, well, what do I know? What am I going to focus on, and what am I going to get really good at? And I'm just going to get really good at one thing. So I actually just focused on Facebook as a main traffic source and Amazon ads. And by Facebook, really what I mean is just setting up a good social presence, making sure that I get good fans on my page. So I'm starting to build a tribe of people. And then I give products away to that tribe of people to be able to get really, really good reviews. And then that's the next thing I focused on was reviews. So my main things was, number one was using Facebook as a way to build a tribe of people that understood my brand, be able to give products away to them or to give it to them at a discount price. And then I really focused on customer service and getting really good reviews. And those are the two things that I did, and I'm still doing today, to be honest. I haven't really branched out of that because it's worked so well for me.
And I think that's so important, too, to just really drive home that point that there's not these secrets. There's not this complicated extra stuff we're hiding from you. Just do what we gave available to you, and these are the kind of results you can get. So that is awesome. So I know you kind of hit on the. Actually, my first question to you is: with you traveling so much, what do you find? Maybe explain when you started, how much time you had to spend on it, but now how much time you're spending on it every day.
Yeah, when I first started, because I was learning everything, I was spending a good 6 to 7 hours a day. Now, bearing in mind, I really wanted to get into this. There's no way I was going back to a corporate life. So I actually went to Bali and went on my own for 2 months and just sort of sat and focused and really sort of dug in deep. But then once I got things moving, I'd say maybe 2 to 3 hours a day, just checking in. And my biggest thing now is to start really ramping up on the outsourcing. So I do have a couple of outsourcers, but I really want to start to build a really strong team of people that can do some of the day-to-day stuff that I'm currently doing, so then I can focus on growing the business further. But I think 3 hours a day.
3 hours a day, and that kind of leads into the next question. So right now, you said you just have a couple of outsourcers working for you?
Yes. So I have one VA, a general VA. So she looks after all my social media. She does the Alliance tool. She does the URL boost tool, and she also comments on my Amazon reviews for me. So if anybody leaves a review, she'll always go on there and do a little comment. Thank you, or if there's any issues, that she'll sort that out. I then have 3 customer service people now. So one looks after the US account, one looks after the UK account, and I've just obviously recruited somebody for the German account. And they answer all emails and call my customers as well.
Very cool. So what, do you have any tips, anything that you've learned when it comes to outsourcing, hiring, like any tips that, you're, like, if you could go back in time, you would have changed?
I think you've got to be very clear about what you want that person to do. So, it's all in the planning, I think. So rather than thinking, oh, I just need them to do stuff, have a really good think about what's the job description. I mean, if you're running a company, what do you want this person to actually do? And be very clear about that up front when you're recruiting. It just means that you just get the best person for the job. And then nurture the relationship. So even though they're distant from you, they're still a person that works for you in your business. And one thing I've found is just giving little bonuses or trying to set targets for people. So for instance, on with my customer service guys, I give them a little bonus if we get to 100 reviews. So every 100 reviews, they get a little bonus and a little pat on the back, and then that way they just feel like they're really part of the business, and they actually start to talk about our business and our products, and they actually feel like they mean something as opposed to just an outsourcer who's just doing some work for you. So I think once you've found somebody really good, just try and nurture that relationship. In fact, that's probably most of where my time is spent, is making sure that my outsourcers are looked after.
That's really good advice, because, and actually it's going to lead into another question I have about suppliers, but, you've got to look at these people that you're working with, whether you're outsourcing, and don't look at them as like an employee or someone who you just get to tell what to do. They're part of your business, and by giving them more of an opportunity to feel like part of that business, they're going to have a lot more to give you, because they're going to feel cherished and important, because they are. And that's the thing. They're feeling this way working with Kirsty, because they are being treated that way. They are being rewarded for good work, and they are being appreciated and respected. And that's important with every business relationship. And with that being said, last week we talked about this a little bit, and I see a question came in. How is your relationship with your suppliers? Have you found that building a solid relationship has been beneficial?
Yeah, yes, definitely. So I've got 2 suppliers, and I've had one right from the beginning. And so we had an issue. Funnily enough, I had a bit of a trademark issue, and they actually even did some research for me and gave me a full dossier on why we weren't in breach, and they've just gone that real extra mile. And even little things like putting extra inserts into the package, they've done for free. And again, they talk about it as our business as opposed to your business. So I think nurturing that relationship is really important. And I pushed a little bit on price at one stage, and right in the sort of the early stages of the relationship, and they came to the party on some of it, but not all of it. But rather than keep pushing, I sort of held back and thought, well, eventually we want this long-term relationship. And I think by doing that, we had mutual respect, and since then it's almost like a compound effect in terms of the amount of value that they've added to the products in the business.
And that whole word right there, long term, everything you're doing, right now we're talking about promotion, but everything you're doing, think about it from the long term. It's not about just getting the sales now, it's not about just getting the supplier now, it's not about just hiring the outsourcer now. It's about what it's going to do for your business, for, a year from now, 2 years from now. For example, Chrissy, I'm sure when you first, how long do you feel it took until your supplier actually started working with you that way?
I'd say it was a good, 4 to 5 months. Once we've got a couple of orders coming through, and you're showing that you're serious about actually running the business, as opposed to just getting a few samples that you want to sell on a site somewhere. I think that's the difference, because they probably see a lot of people that come through and they just want a job lot, if you like, to sell somewhere, as opposed to actually a long-term relationship. So yeah, I'd say about 4 or 5 months.
All right, cool. So with your product brand, are your products all kind of related in the same category, or are you on a bunch of different categories?
No, it's the same category. Yeah.
Excellent. And what has been, in your opinion, the biggest obstacle you've had by getting this business up and running?
Biggest obstacle. Gosh. I mean, one of the biggest issues that I had was with a previous supplier where they said they were going to get the actual product to Amazon for me, but actually they never did, and it just got stuck in customs for 6 months. So actually Mike McClary helped me out with that, and he got me a freight forwarder to get it to Amazon.
Very cool.
But essentially, yeah, if you can come across obstacles like that you think is a game changer, and it stops you in your tracks. But I think the biggest thing to think about is there's always a solution. You might just have to work a little bit harder to find it, but there's always going to be a solution there. And I think for me, I always came at this business thinking it's going to work. I never came at it thinking it wasn't going to work. I didn't have a plan B. I didn't want a plan B. So I think that really helps. You have to think about it that way, because if you don't, you're not serious enough. So I never really felt like I had, even though I had a big obstacle, I didn't feel like it was a game changer, that it was gonna stop me doing what I needed to do.
You know, and I've said this before, and I want to say it again, and thank you for saying that, because you're creating a real business here, and there's going to be obstacles, no matter what. Even when you're, making millions of dollars, something's going to happen where there's going to be a roadblock. So those challenges you're facing now, everybody goes through them. The thing is, I think that's amazing advice, is get that mindset knowing that this is going to work for you. And remember, you've got this great support structure around you that can help you through it. And you heard Kirsty there. There's another member, Mike McClary, another mentor that helped her through that challenge. Ask for help if you're struggling. Don't sit there and just say, oh, this is too hard, I can't do it. That's what everyone's there for, to give you that help that you need, so take advantage of it. Thank you so much. So what type of advertising are you doing right now? You mentioned how you haven't really done more than sponsored ads, but are you doing Facebook? Are you doing PPC at all? What are you focusing on?
Yeah, so Facebook. So I'm just learning at the moment how to drive traffic from Facebook, which I think is amazing because it's so targeted. So the fact that you can actually drill right down into who's your target market, what are they like, what are their interests. You can get so targeted. It just really means that you're getting really good quality leads, as opposed to just putting something out there and hoping that somebody sees it and buys your product. So that's why I really like Facebook. I don't like wasting money. I'm from Yorkshire originally, which means that we're really tight with our money, so we don't like wasting any money. So for me, that's one of the biggest areas that I really want to focus on. But I haven't done anything else. That's all I'm focusing on at the moment.
And how long have you been doing Facebook advertising? Because I don't want people to assume, oh, that's what's accelerated, or like you've only recently started that, correct?
Yeah, literally like 6 weeks ago. Yeah.
Back to the question about your hiring outsourcers. So you're in Germany, UK, US. With your customer service, did you hire people in those specific countries, or how did you do that?
So I've got two, actually they're all based in the Philippines, but I've got 2 Filipino-born people. They look after the US and the UK. And then I've got a German-born guy who's actually lives in the Philippines. That's his lifestyle. So he just happens to be there. But yeah, but the guys are great. What I've found with the Filipino customer service guys is that they actually have worked in a call center before. And so they've been fully corporately trained, and they've got a very good English. So a lot of Filipinos actually learn English as well as their second language from birth, as well as Filipino. So I made sure that I've got somebody who's got very good English, and their accent is probably more on the American side than anything else. So yeah, they've been great. I haven't had any issues with customers complaining or thinking that they're not from the US or the UK. It's been very well received.
All right, so here's another question. Obviously, those first reviews are so important, and if you were in the U.S. or I mean in Australia. So how did you get your first reviews? How did you focus on getting those?
I actually I had a Facebook page. Actually, I had a couple of pages. So I did an interest-based page, and I basically got about maybe 1,000 fans on there, and you can do that really, really easily, and I think you guys teach this in the promotions, is to set up a quick campaign, cost me $5 a day, and within 3 weeks I had 1,000 fans on there, and I gave away product for $1, and I got about 50 people buying it for $1. And through the Facebook page, I actually nurtured those guys, so made sure that, I was talking to them in the right tone of voice for my brand, and they send the review back to Facebook, and then I asked them to post it on Amazon. And within about 2 or 3 weeks, I had about 30, 35 reviews.
Very cool. So how long did it take you when you said last September you launched, was it?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get your first sale from when you first listed your product?
That day. I got on, yeah, the first day.
How long did it take you to get to your 10K?
Took me about 2.5 months to get there. When I started, I was quite slow getting off the bat, and then because I was a bit all over the place in terms of what I was going to focus on. I went to the live event in Austin in January this year, and I took away a couple of things there, which was really get focused on one traffic source, and then really get focused on reviews. And at that point, I hadn't really understood how important reviews were and nurturing those reviews. So those are the two things that I just took away from that event and went, right, that's what I'm going to do. And once I started doing that, I went from 10K to 30K in a month. So it's the power of that focus, I think, that really helped me, just get really targeted about what I was doing.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, people are obviously they're thinking, you sound high-level products. Like, I mean, your products all are within that $10 to $40 range, correct?
Yeah. So I've got one product's $10, the other's $14, and the other was $30.
Excellent. Awesome. Now, I think that's all that we have for questions. So with that being said, that leads me into my next section. So first of all, if you guys have any more questions, we do have time for a few more. But what I'm going to do is, and yes, for some people are asking, are you going to be at the next live event? And yes, she will, because I've already asked her she's going to be there, so I can answer that one for her. But actually, yeah, this is a great one. So this person is saying, I'm in Australia too. Should I go, and if so, why?
To the live event?
Yes.
Absolutely. Definitely go. I missed the first one, and I was like, I'm not missing out on the second one because, number one, you obviously get fantastic content. I've never seen so many fantastic speakers in terms of really focused on your business. And I've been to a lot of business conferences, but you can't underestimate the power of the speakers there, particularly talking about the business that you're in, which usually when you go to a business conference, those speakers are quite generalist. And with this conference, they tailor the content perfectly. The other one is you've got about 3,000 people there that are all doing the same thing as you. So you don't feel such an island. So, you can make fantastic connections, and you can get a really good, solid group of people around you that are either at the same level as you or higher than you that can really help you and propel you forward. And lastly, it's one of the most inspirational, but also one of the most fun things you can do, because especially if you're trying to start a business on your own, it can feel quite lonely. You sat there in front of your computer, but all of a sudden you get there and you meet a bunch of people that all think like you, and you're like, oh, I'm not as daft as what I thought I was. I'm actually there's a lot of people out there that think like me. So I don't know, it just gives you such a boost, and I think that's what really helped me. And I got home and I implemented most of my stuff before I left Austin, because that was the first event that I went to.
Right, cool. You know, and I mean, I understand why people are worried about those kind of things. If you've been to other events, you're right, you have people like all focused on different business models. That's not the case here. And, you know, it really is getting that connection with other like-minded people in a similar business that just gives you such huge encouragement. A lot of you are sitting there and even your spouses aren't supporting you. You have nobody that really sees this. They still think, oh, this isn't going to work. Whether it be jealousy or just ignorance on their part of not knowing, you need to surround yourself with people that will support you and help you. That's really a huge part. And the other thing is, all the content is focused on this business model, which means that given to you is something relevant to you right where you are now, and it's just awesome. Okay, we got another question in here too about your first inventory. Did you ever touch your first inventory, or did you use a service, a third-party service, or how did you go about getting your inventory directly to Amazon?
Yeah, no, I got it sent straight to Amazon, and I wouldn't suggest you do this, but I didn't even see my product before it went. So I was in Bali and I was traveling around, so I didn't have an address. So I just said, oh, send me a picture, looks all right. So I was like, yeah, cool, send it. I'm not saying you do that, by the way, but yeah, I've never had FBA inspection or anything like that. I just sent it direct to Amazon.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. You've been awesome. We don't, I mean, honest, we don't want anyone making up things here. And you're absolutely right. The one thing, obviously, I mean, there is a risk from that. She's obviously with a good supplier and everything. Highly not recommended, in my opinion, your first order, but as you can see, it's something you could do right away. So what I want to get into now, if there's other questions, keep answering them. We have about 9 more minutes asking them. What I want to talk about now is our Community Helper of the Week. And let me apologize about last week. I forgot to mention it, but we're going to do it this week. So as mentioned, the Community Helper of the Week is the mentors and everyone are always watching the forums in the community to see who is just helping out. And we want to thank you by giving back to you for giving your time out like that. So for right now, we have, just for some great posts and encouragements, we have Mary Isaac, Julie Siula, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, and Shannon T. So really just awesome for great posts and encouragement. But for the winner of the week, so what this is, this person is going to get a free 30-minute one-on-one with me. They can talk about anything in regards to their Amazon business at any time, as long as they take me up on this before the live event. So we have to be able to schedule this before the live event. But we had 2 people. It was hard to pick. So the runner-up was Kimberly Judy. So again, posting a lot of positive encouragement for her fellow members. But the winner of the 30-minute call for continuing to help those from outside the U.S. getting set up, especially as he's really struggled himself at the beginning, is Jun, J-U-N, that's the username. So congratulations and thank you so much. You know, it's just proof right there by really sharing the community, but doing it in such a way as you're growing and helping others learn from you. You've helped so many other people already. Truly appreciate it. And thank you, all of you who do give back into the community like that. And if you'd be interested in, you know, being part of this next week and maybe getting a free 30-minute one-on-one call where we can talk about strategies, product choices, next steps, all those kind of things, you know, just get involved in that community, share, help each other. You know, the big thing is by helping each other, it really comes back to, I really believe in the idea of reciprocity, where you do things not with the intent of gaining anything back, but just making this a better world, but it always comes back and shines for you. So thanks for everyone that has done that. Now, there is a question, actually, I think is a good one that I saw that was still there for you. Yeah. Where do you see yourself going now? You're in the U.S., UK, Germany. What's next for you?
Yeah, so we're looking into Japan as well as a key market. And Spain. So I got contacted by an Amazon account manager in Spain as well. So looking at that channel, and then just more products. So I'm expecting to launch probably 3 products next year. So 1 every quarter, and have the last quarter off to have a rest.
You need to rest. That's important as well too. That's right. So,
yeah.
here's a question. How did you pay for your inventory initially? I mean, if you were in Australia, you're dealing with an overseas supplier, all that stuff. How did you pay for it?
I just paid through bank wire. So yeah, literally just got their bank details, went to the bank and transferred the cash. That was it.
Very cool. All right. All right. So it doesn't look like we have any other questions, and we're at the time anyway. So everyone, just give thanks to Kirsty again. Took time out of her day. Honestly, every single question, and that's what we want here. You're an awesome inspiration. Congratulations on how well you're doing with your business. You deserve it. I love that you're enjoying life and traveling. Again, it's such a pleasure to be able to spend time with you in Aruba. It was such a blast. And on behalf of myself and Matt Clark, we're going to say adios. Remember that tomorrow at 8 a.m. we're on Module 6, and the recording of this call should be available within the Module 5. Shane and Rich, thank you for being here, and everyone have an awesome night, and happy Thanksgiving. So, oh wait, so Module 6 doesn't go live tomorrow, does it? It goes live on Friday. So yes, I don't want to mislead anyone. I forgot. We're a day ahead because we knew that people would have family stuff tomorrow. So you've got all day tomorrow to finish up Module 5. And Module 6 starts 8 a.m. Friday. Yeah, that's it. Happy Thanksgiving to all of those celebrating Thanksgiving. And just thank you for being here. And thank you, Kirsty, for all you've offered. And everyone have a fantastic week.